Hey, Internet friends. At this point, we've entered uncharted territory, and I believe many of us are wondering, where do we go from here? I've been hearing from many of you that you were praying for a positive change this year, perhaps a little bit of justice or some form of improvement from the past, especially from this past year of so much uncertainty, turmoil, and deception. When every major American city last summer was destroyed and the majority of folks spent more time in their home than ever, many of you were told to trust the plan. That things were happening, a breaking point was on the horizon. Just trust the plan and other folks in government would take care of it. But it seems like all we got was more of the same. Maybe it wasn't the right move to trust folks in government to correct all that is corrupt with the government. But again, the question is, where do we go from here? Well, the only direction is and has always been forward, dealing with what's right in front of us. Before I begin, I want you to know that this video is neither anti nor pro-vaccine. That whole argument is not the point of this video. This channel as a whole is pro-freedom, anti-tyranny. With that said, let's begin. Lately, I've noticed the phrase vaccine passport is popping up everywhere. The idea is you'll have to be inoculated and show some type of proof in order to be able to travel, move around, and basically re-engage in society in any shape or form. This proof will likely be in a digital medium, and the goal is to carry it around with us everywhere. It'll probably start out being on our phones as an app or in the form of a QR code. But those details really don't matter. The bottom line is what matters. In order to rejoin society after a tumultuous year of pandemic, you're being extorted to take a hastily made vaccine, the side effects of which we've not yet seen play out in the long term. If you have to get the jab to be free, is that really freedom? Giving people no choice if they want to leave their house, travel, and work? Here's an excerpt from a CNN article published on January 17th. With coronavirus vaccines now rolling out across the United States, businesses and schools are considering how and what it'll take to safely resume in-person operations. Some of the country's biggest tech firms and healthcare organizations have joined together to help facilitate that return to normal. The group, called the Vaccine Credential Initiative, wants to ensure that everyone has access to a secure digital record of their COVID-19 vaccination, like a digital vaccine passport that can be stored in people's smartphones. The records could be used for everything from airline travel to entering concert venues. The coalition comprises of a broad range of healthcare and tech leaders, including Microsoft, Salesforce, Oracle, Cerner, and other healthcare software firms. Some companies, including Dollar General and Instacart, plan to pay their workers to get vaccinated. LA's school district has said that once children have access to vaccines, all district students must get immunized before returning to their classrooms. And some experts expect that states and countries currently requiring negative COVID-19 test results for incoming travelers will eventually also accept vaccination records. Now, paper documentation of vaccinations has been standard for school and some overseas travel for a while. But through this initiative, it's seeming like it'll be extended to all travel, school, and work-related business. If you can't move across state lines, amble around the government buildings, and return to your work without being forced to take a vaccine, are you really free? Do you really have rights, or did you just let a single event become the reason why everyone and their mama is subject to medical tyranny under the guise of safety? There's a thread on Twitter by Michael here that I'm going to link below detailing why vaccine passports are wrong and dangerous. I think this is an interesting perspective, and I'm just going to read this because he says it so much better than I ever could. He says, if you only allow the vaccinated to re-engage in society, you are effectively coercing people into taking the vaccine through extortion. Because if only the vaccinated can have their freedom back, you leave people with no choice but to vaccinate. The bedrock of medical ethics is the principle of informed and voluntary consent with regard to medical treatments. The World Medical Association Code of Medical Ethics states, a physician shall respect a competent patient's right to accept or refuse treatment. Decisions about medical treatments like vaccination should always be based on the principle of voluntary consent and must not be coerced. There must not be any conditions attached. The COVID passport is meant to allow those who have taken the COVID shot greater freedoms than those who have not. But the vaccine passports make no sense if the COVID vaccine does not stop you from spreading the virus. At present, we don't know if the vaccines stop people from carrying or transmitting the virus. If none of the vaccines prevent transmission, then the whole notion of vaccine passports makes no sense. The vaccine passport at the end of the day is a tactic to extort people into vaccinating, and they are using your freedoms as a bargaining tool in a game where they will only be returned in exchange for vaccinating. So where does it stop? The vaccine passport system has been designed in response to COVID, but which other vaccines could become a requirement to engage in society? Exactly, where does it end? You give these people an inch and they'll take a mile. Personally, I don't believe anyone should be forced to prove their vaccination record digitally. There's too much at stake regarding privacy and security for this to be forced. In moving forward, there's no trusting the plan, waiting for someone higher up to intervene. If you don't like it, if you don't like something that's happening, you're not a bystander in your own life. You can say no. It's not about a vaccine, it's not about a vaccine passport, or even a virus. It's about the future of our nation. How much liberty you're willing to let slip out of your hands before you say enough is enough. What do you think, internet friends? I always look forward to reading your comments. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing and supporting my channel on Patreon. Bye!